podcast.
Yep. How do I think we're live now.
Oh, nice.
Let me make sure I put the link up. Let's see. Welcome to Missing the Cut with apparently some of our guest hosts also missing.
Missing the podcast.
Missing the podcast. This is super exciting content. Actually, Ben, why don't you tell me about your Wausau experience? You finished, what, 7th?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Something around that.
Yeah, no, it was super fun. I lost to Brandon Zimmer.
MN Broncos.
Yeah, I have a less than stellar record against him in tournaments.
If it makes you feel any better, I think I've never beaten him, so...
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, no, I got to like 10 power by round 3, and I forced March his Aria on his Valor turn when he thought he was going to wipe me out.
Wow.
So I felt pretty good about the game, but then he just like dropped Varus and marched and Dahirus and just all in a row.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens with that deck, I think. What were you playing?
I was playing Stark Wars.
Oh, and what was he playing?
He was also playing Stark Wars, but he was a much more control-y list.
And yours was aggro-y?
Very aggro, yeah.
Interesting.
King Rob and Ice stuff.
Yeah, I like that deck, although I'm not sure how good it is in terms of like consistent versus
Yeah, I think consistency is the issue, because like there's some decks where you can have a bad start and come back, but with that deck it's like either you just blow them out or you lose. And there's not really much in between.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing, right? It helps you win by a lot, but I don't think it helps you win games that you would otherwise lose.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there are a fair number of games that I've come back with in that deck. I think I was 2-4.
Corey joined.
What up, Corey?
So, Corey, are you also from Wausau?
No, I live in Eau Claire.
It's where's that?
Sorry, it's about halfway between the store in Roseville and Wausau.
Oh, nice. So, do you consider yourself a Minnesota player or a Wausau player?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the
I don't
best
know.
of both
I've
worlds.
had a couple of times where I tried to get to Wausau and I couldn't because of one reason or another. So probably more Minnesota because I've played with those guys more.
Okay.
But I have fun playing Wausau.
Corey, I'm always surprised when to see you at the game center because it's like such a drive. But
oh yeah. Well, I didn't really know about the Wausau meta until like this year. I didn't know how often they played, and I knew about Minnesota. Like as soon as I started playing, I knew about the Minnesota group.
Yeah. The Wausau guys.
Awesome. Is that Brad and Jake?
Yeah, dude.
Hey, boys.
Who let them on this podcast?
Oh no.
I got a link, dude. I just clicked on it.
All right. So you guys were tell me about, I mean, I know what our viewers want to hear about, which is basically how good was the after party? Where'd you guys go? There was no after party?
I don't know. I drove to Appleton, so.
Where's Appleton? Is it another village?
It's like an hour away and a half. I don't know. I ditched the after party. I suck.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, the Minnesota car drove.
What's going on? Is there like Jake, are you guys outside?
Yeah.
Okay. Brad, you ran this tournament, is that right? No.
Yes.
Any thoughts? How was it hurting these cats?
Oh, it felt fantastic. I kept Jake Platt out of the cut. That just saved everyone's life, right?
Woo!
I'm actually super. I didn't know the guy that missed the cut in LA, and I was like, oh, I feel a little awkward making him the face of the podcast when I've never met him, and then I was like, oh, but Jake missed the cut in Wausau. That's classic.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Well, to be fair, I have 100% win ratio of tournaments and cut. So if I make it.
Yeah, good thing we can prevent that from happening.
Yeah, Brad did a good job.
So is it true you just like forgot or didn't realize you were supposed to cut to 8 and just cut to 4?
I didn't realize I was supposed to cut to 8, and I figured with 20 people that we cut to 4. I said it before the tournament began. No one contested me. Ryan Ritter was there. Literally no one said anything. And then when the cut went down to 3-1, I was like, oh, that's pretty bad. And I was like, well, I said before the tournament started that we were cutting to 4, so I couldn't really change it then.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. I think we cut to 8 in Knoxville with 18, maybe. And it was just like everybody made the cut, even me.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was like, do I really want to cut to half the field with 20 people? Because if people drop, you're going to have like probably like 16 people left by round 4, and we're going to cut to 8 of them. And then it's like people are there from out of town. We started late because we had to wait for people. And I was like, okay, I'll just cut to 4. That's what I said before the tournament began. I looked at the like rules document that they had online, but I looked at the casual setting or whatever, not the formal. Yeah, and like with 20 people, it should just be 5 rounds cut to 4 then, I guess. But like even then, if we would have cut to 8, we would have been here until probably 11 o'clock at night. Like the final game ended at 9:30.
I would have.
When did you guys start?
We started at like almost 2 because we had to wait for people from out of town.
Yeah, the Chicago car got delayed because of like a bunch of accidents on the road.
Yeah.
That's why I always like try to get there the night before. You gotta do partying the night before. It's okay if you're delayed because you're hungover. It's not okay if you're delayed.
And I didn't get to say sorry to everybody in person, but to everybody that didn't make it because of that, I am sorry.
We have like 1 viewer, Brad. There's no one's watching.
No, the other guy in the podcast right now didn't make Corey, right?
Oh,
he didn't. Oh, yeah. Okay, but yeah, I had no idea. In all honesty.
Yeah, don't feel bad about that because I probably would have had to drop. I would have had to drop. I had my 4-year-old daughter with me, and I would have had to leave.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the point. Making the cut. His 4-year-old there with him.
That's actually like, how did you manage that? Because like I might take my kids to a tournament, but I don't want to. Like I don't know what's the logistics like.
We have tons of pop vinyls and fun toys to play with.
Yeah. Yeah, he can tell you how much money I spent on toys for her while we were there. The only complaint was that we couldn't get food there because like the closest pizza place doesn't open until 4, and like John's didn't deliver there. So she had snacks all day. Whatever kind of snacks they had at the store there is what she had. So I should have been more.
And you like she was fine, like being entertained like that. That's
more or less.
She wanted more food.
My kids are like 12, and I think they would just like burn the place down if I left them alone for that long.
She was actually relatively calm the whole day. I was very surprised. From an employee standpoint, she really caused absolutely no ruckus.
Yeah, she had a short 5-minute burst of absolute tears, and I let her just sort of take a beat and like think about it. Because both my kids, if you give them attention when they're crying, they just milk that as much as they can. So I just let her cry it out for a few minutes, and I tried to relax. Luckily, everyone was really nice about it. They were really cool about me having a toddler.
I think we should have had her go up against John Peters for the booty prize. I think she could have taken him.
Ryan got a great picture of her sitting across from Cameron, where it looks like they're playing each other.
That's awesome. Wait, did Peters end up finishing last?
Yeah, he lost to Chase's brother in the final round in the Greyjoy mirror and took dead last.
Chase's brother also doesn't play
Yeah,
Thrones.
Chase's brother has played like 5 games of Thrones in his life.
He grinds Yu-Gi-Oh though.
Yeah, he's a Yu-Gi-Oh grinder. That's how we know him.
How is it? Chase's younger brother?
Yeah, he literally plays no other games but Yu-Gi-Oh. He played probably 5 games of Thrones and then beat John Peters in the Greyjoy Wars to come near.
Does Peters like actually play this game, or is he just a professional troll that like randomly throws cards down? Like,
I think he plays online pretty frequently, but he loses a lot online.
I just think that he makes a lot of mistakes in paper. In all honesty, to be fair to him,
Yeah.
I think that he just doesn't do well in paper because he plays online and he does well in online events. I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah, I played against him round 1, and he made the mistake of killing a cost 3 character. So when I played Dohyrus, he had to get rid of all but 1 character.
yeah, it sounds like he's pretty bad. I mean,
It was a close match at that point.
I remember one time back a long time ago, I played him at like Worlds or something, and I remember his board was like Tywin, the Mountain, and Iron Mines, and then like Core Theon, and somehow he lost that game with no Valor at all in the format. I don't know how. I remember walking away from that game and like I remember at one point looking at his board and seeing like Tywin, Theon, Mountain, Iron Mines, and I'm like, well, I fucking die.
Yeah.
And then it was like at the end of the game, I was like, wait a minute, how did I win? I was like, Peter, you're terrible.
I like how this is just now the bashing John Peters. You don't have the after party to discuss.
Well, there was like an after party. Like Ben went out, I think.
Yeah, well, we went to get dinner. But
Yeah, it was just dinner.
we all had like a drink.
Bratz lost the credit card game.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bratz
yeah.
paid for it. Good.
That's good. Hey, so Corey, this is the first time I think I've seen you or met you. We haven't really met. What
Yeah.
events are you going to in the near future?
I'm planning on going to the regional in Minnesota in August. I think it's August 25th. And then they're hosting the Queen at the End. Otherwise,
Wait.
yeah, I had a baby girl about five weeks ago. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, so I'm just I go on Tuesdays as much as I can to Roseville, but that takes up my whole Tuesday evening because I have to drive there. So it's iffy right now. I play a lot online now because I can't make the drive to Roseville.
Yeah. I mean, I've muted you, Jake. So if you want to say something, you gotta tell me. But I think that having gone through parenthood, I think you're gonna have a lot of time. I don't know. Are you sleeping at night or no?
Am I sleeping?
Yeah. Are you still like woken up every so often?
Yeah, I mean she's a really good baby. All 3 of my kids have been pretty good babies. So like, yeah, I mean I woke up like last night. I think usually what happens is I stay up really late. My wife goes to sleep at like 8 o'clock, and I stay up really late till like midnight or 1 in the morning. And then we all are asleep for a few hours, and then she wakes up with the baby at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Okay.
And we sort of, we follow that pattern, but once in a while I'll wake up with her. We shift around. My wife's awesome, so usually if I let her sleep when she wants to sleep, she's usually pretty nice about not waking me up in the middle of the night.
I was gonna say you can get some reps in with the Asian and European players if you're playing online in the middle of the night.
Well, I've definitely had some games already where I've played while holding the baby.
Yeah, it's probably a little easier than playing WoW, which is what I did when I had a young kid.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, you can play with one hand, so I carry her with the left arm. And
Corey, what's your tag online?
I'd have to check what it is. I think it's just like C Weston or C Weston 312.
Okay, cool.
It's pretty straightforward. I try not to get too complicated.
Cool.
I can send that to you guys in our group message. And I'll check it out. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
I like this.
Ben,
Flat muted.
Oh, go ahead. I don't know how to unmute Jake, so I don't. He's got to figure that out on his side.
Keep him muted.
How about that?
Oh, there we go. Okay, he's unmuted now. All right, so Ben, you are probably the person on. Well, I don't know. It's probably a toss-up between you and Jake, but probably you in terms of that I've spent the most time with. Not least because we drove like 17 hours across the country together, or something ridiculous. What tournaments are you looking forward to?
Well, I was gonna go to Omaha. All right.
Yeah.
It's just a long drive. I don't know if I could get back in time. My wife is traveling right now. Sunday. And again, like on the Monday. So it was just a lot of travel all in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't know anything about that.
yeah, you never travel. You're a real homebody.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm excited for the Spider's Web tournament coming up that weekend.
Oh, yeah, and are you going to, what was it, the Minnesota regional?
I'm camping with Evan Johnson that weekend. We planned it like way farther in advance. So I don't know why.
Tris Botley.
Yeah, Tris Botley. So I don't know why he let them schedule the regional on that weekend. Like, it seems like as an employee he should have something to say about that. But yeah.
I mean, that does seem a little odd. And then you're when is Queen of the Andals? Is that
I should know.
September?
I'm pretty sure it's the 22nd of September.
Oh,
It was
so that's the weekend.
And then I think they moved it.
Yeah. So the 22nd is, I think, there's a tournament like literally everywhere. There's
Yes.
I think, is it Siege of Marine? No, Siege of Marine's the 15th. But like there's one in San Francisco, there's one in DC, there's Queen of the Andals, and then there's one in Sweden, Varberg.
Oh yeah.
So
there's 4 tournaments going on. I think that also means that because I know the winner of the Spider's Web tournament gets a flight to the San Francisco
Garden, yeah.
So
I think all of those are really good tournaments.
yeah. So I guess I can't win that.
But you guys, what are you guys doing there, Brad and Jake? You guys sorting cards?
Yeah, well, I'm just sitting here.
Pokemon
He's
cards.
selling Pokemon cards, yeah.
Seems good. So, Jake, how does it feel to win a national championship and then miss the cut in your own home store regional?
I think the field was harder at this regional than at the nationals I won.
Oh man, you just dissed an entire country.
Well, Chris Thompson was in the cut, like.
That does.
But yeah, I don't know. To be fair, like the Wausau field's always pretty crazy. Like Minnesota is like all really good, and like
it's actually Wausau is the place that I've done the worst in Thrones. I went 0-4 in my tournament there. I don't think I've ever gone 0-4.
John Peters special.
Yeah.
It's funny that he thinks the Wausau area is hard because my only loss was to Brandon Zimmer, and he's in Minnesota.
Yeah. You also beat me. God.
I mean, what kind of noob tournament do you have one loss and not make the cut?
I don't know, dude. It's 4 or plus, dude.
Yeah. I
So
beat
it was
on the shortest game of my life.
I'm muting you guys again.
My game against Bohan, we both had King Rob out turn 1. He was playing like the same deck as I was, but I had ice and he didn't. So
That it makes a pretty big difference. What were you playing, Corey?
I was playing more Martell Wars to Come. It wasn't the same as like the decks I've seen with like with Big Ariane or Dorian or any of that stuff. I won all 3 of my games using Dorian's game though, so it was still.
That seems like a fair tactic. I'll just get like 18 power with one event, not busted at all.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 times that I won with Dorian's game, it was at least 5 power, I think, because like my game against Platt, we went to 7 plots. So I played that the last round, and that's why I won.
I also killed his Urkaso.
But yeah, it's a pretty good. I mean, I wasn't sure how good the deck was. Like, I won at least half my games online, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I sort of tinkered with it like on the drive there Saturday morning, because I wasn't sure. But yeah, I mean, that's why I won. I mean, there were a couple of good plays that I made, but it was mostly the Doran's game and Littlefinger's meddling, just being able to trigger a bunch of different events, sort of stack them together.
That brings up an interesting point. Brad, did you do deck checks to make sure people weren't running multiple copies of Restricteds or anything of that nature?
We trusted everyone.
I did it in the top 2.
Seems suspicious.
To be fair, like I don't think anyone was breaking the restricted list. Like,
I would break it by accident because I'd forget like Littlefinger's. Like I blame you, Jake. So like really, it's your fault.
I know the entire restricted list, so
yeah, it's just like
if you were
your
here,
deck.
if you were here, it would be a little different, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'd forget that
Would've at
Littlefinger's
least-
meddling.
I would have
Or,
at
like-
least done one.
Yeah.
What is it? Tana is on the restricted list, or like some
Yeah.
random Tyrell character, or whatever.
There's a
Nygaard.
bunch of Tyrell characters. There's only,
Whose fault is that? That's a better question.
not me, dude.
I was actually making fun of you earlier, Brad. I was like, if your Tyrell Conclave deck is like a real thing, I'm gonna be super pissed.
Oh,
To be fair, we think it's better than Where's the Come. Like, Where's the Come sucks.
Where it's like, oh, I put this here, and this
But,
gives me this, and this goes
yeah, I don't know.
here. Those are the fun.
Oh, Sandy, are you going to the Jersey tournament?
Which Jersey tournament?
The one that Lamzik's running for the NECT?
I'm actually going to be taking a page from your book and trying to steal the national title from the UK that
Oh,
weekend.
okay. You need a deck?
I might need a deck.
gonna get you
There's no way I beat Rama though.
Yeah, whatever. He already has. Well,
bullshit.
I'm getting a card design this year, guys. I'm getting a card design. You heard it here first.
yeah, so you're gonna win Worlds.
I'm gonna probably win Melee.
We don't get a design for that anymore.
Oh, then yeah, all right.
You got the Win Worlds joust.
I might get a card design by literally buying the Thrones license. That's like the most probable way of me getting a card design.
I'm in.
I heard you and Chase got a nice bet for Gen Con.
Yeah, I'm gonna make like $1,500 off of him because he's garbage.
Or he's gonna make like $1,500 off you.
It's incredibly unlikely.
He already knows what he's playing.
So do I. I'm playing the same deck. We're both playing builders. It's gonna come down to like $10 because we're both gonna finish in like 7th and 8th.
It's going to come down to $10 because you guys are in the last 2 seats when I tell everyone to play PD.
So true.
That's fair. So who's going to Gen Con in this group? Okay. No.
We are.
I just bought my flight, so that'll be fun. Apparently, it's going to be quite the adventure. There's a lot of people coming in from out of town. Some first.
Are you staying at the Airbnb?
No,
You're not.
I got a hotel.
For me, it was
Of course he did.
here, which got me
I don't like Airbnbs.
here, which got me something. But I finished up all my.
I think you just get too drunk at them.
Or otherwise impaired.
Yes. San Diego is a fun time, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't remember that flight back. Like, or the next day.
Because he window.
I remember you saying you had a date when you got back.
That's never been released.
It was honestly the worst date of my life. Like, not because of the person. I was just dead. I was dead. It was good tacos though.
Okay, whatever.
All right. Well, I'm out of topics, and I also don't have whiskey to review this time. You guys want to use your 5 minutes of fame with this one viewer that we have, which might just be me and another tab. I don't even know. Might not have anybody watching us.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm glad you guys carved out some time for this podcast.
I think so.
I'm getting paid to do this, so
All right, final thoughts. No. Can I inject Jake?
you can.
Here, I'll help
All
you.
right.
I'll help you out.
I have a question if anyone wants to chat some more.
Yeah. What's up, Corey?
So something I was thinking about today. My loss on Saturday was to Brandon Zimmer. He was playing Stark Wars. His deck was basically perfect for beating my deck. You know, he had Bran for canceling my events, and he had Last Hearth Scouts for canceling or kneeling my characters when they come into play. It was a really good deck. Something that I try to like work on after a tournament. Usually I lose more than I win, so it's a lot to think about. But this time it was just the one deck. Like, do you guys think more about about action windows and how you could have played better in that specific matchup, or more about plots or your draw deck? That's usually something like when I go and play, I'll bring a deck to like a game night in Roseville, and I'll play 3 or 4 games, and I'll go like 1 and 3 and say, okay, well that deck's not very good, but that's not a lot of experience. At first, I was playing just like once a week, and now I'm playing a little bit more. So I'm just trying to figure out, maybe there's a couple slots in my deck that I should change, or maybe a plot that I'm missing. Is what's the first thing you guys would think of? Is it while you're playing that you think I should trigger something else, or?
I mean, do you think that you think Stark is a bad matchup for your deck in general, or was it just Brandon Zimmer's Stark deck? Just from what I felt.
I think it was a combination of he had a perfect setup for playing against me, where he had Bran and Last Hearth Scouts, and then he had Begging Brother. Basically, there was a turn. I think he had Breaking Ties, and I had a Nefarious Acolyte, so I could have canceled it, but he had Begging Brother to cancel my Nefarious Acolyte. So maybe it was the kind of thing where I should have, baited him into triggering that Begging Brother's gold. He had 1 gold on it, so maybe, a turn earlier I should have done a play that seemed suboptimal just to get him to try and spend that gold, so that the next turn I could get Nefarious Acolyte to blank his plot. Because obviously Martel has a lot of triggered abilities. I'm running like Ario, Hota, and a lot of good triggered abilities.
Yeah.
I actually think there's 2 different axes by which I evaluate this. One, it does seem like he had the advantage, and you could have outplayed him to negate that advantage. But if you both play equally well, then it's not really the deck. His deck does seem poised to beat yours. That being said, you can always improve play, or almost always improve play. So maybe that's not a lost cause. Me personally, I'm a garbage player, so I try not to rely on me outplaying my opponent. I like the decks to be better. It's actually so in your specific scenario, I would say, okay, Last Hearth Scouts really just ruins my whole day. Do I have a Milk of the Poppy? Do I run Milk of the Poppy? That also helps against Bran.
I played a Milk on his Last Hearth Scouts.
How many milks do you run in your deck?
2.
So, maybe it's a matter of do I run a card that more reliably gets me my Milk of the Poppy? Do I run some other way to mitigate these? Instead of playing a constructive game, I'm playing a game where I now have tried to stop my opponent from screwing with me, and I have a bunch of mitigating cards to do that. That's how I approach it, and sometimes that means the deck is no longer good. So my Dothraki deck, my Targ deck, just dies horribly to King in the North. There's just that shuts it down completely. And I could run Beggar Kings and try to figure out ways to blank the plot, Forgotten Plans or whatever. And it just turns out by adding all of those things into the deck becomes so bad or so diluted that it's not really worth playing anymore.
Right.
You gotta just run the Lorax, man.
Yeah, well, now this was back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I felt like, I felt like playing I had two other games before my game against Jake. My first and third game were both against Greyjoy Wars, and I had both games. I felt like I was either in control or I was behind, but I had outs. I had ways of getting back. Like my first game was against John Peters, and he had like 5 power on Balon, but I was kind of setting up Dohyrus pretty well. So I felt like I had a good plan going. Whereas against Brandon, I was just sort of like going through the motions. Like, okay, how am I gonna mess with his plan?
I mean, Brandon's deck is a very weird Stark deck because he basically just took the plot deck from like his Martell attrition builds that he likes to play and put it into a Stark deck.
Right. I think he and I had like 4 or 5 of the same plots. So like Dohyrus didn't do much, and like he has double March, so like my March wouldn't do much. And you know, he did have really good draw. Like I think he had 2 copies of Summer in the first like 2 rounds. So like taking characters out of his discard pile was huge. And yeah, and Breaking Ties, like we both have a couple of like not non-loyal characters, but mine was the biggest. I had Host of the Boneway, and he didn't have any really big characters at all. So he set me back a lot more with Breaking Ties than I would have with mine.
Jake, do you have any thoughts on this, or Brad for that matter, since you've also built drone stacks?
We don't really build drone stacks, but I guess like whenever I test like a deck, like you said that you like play more now. I usually put like 50 or so plus games in before like I throw it away. Like if it actually feels good, like if the deck just feels terrible, like it doesn't feel like any tuning is gonna help it, I just like throw it away and just see if later on maybe it'll be good. But I just grind on Iron Throne with multiple accounts.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of annoying to do, but it gets work. We also like in Wausau, like none of us like play test. Like people are building decks before the tournament. But like, yeah, we don't really play test as much as I would like to, and I'm bad, so I gotta play test.
Yeah, my biggest problem is that I second guess my plots a lot. Where I'll you know, even with 10 plots, I don't know how I do it, but I have with Martell Wars, like I'll have 10 plots and I'll go, I think I need one more plot like this. Or, you know, I was thinking about putting in Wildfire Assault, and I don't know how much it would have helped on Saturday, but like, you know, there are just occasions where it's like, maybe I need one more of this. Like I slotted in Summer Harvest on Saturday morning on the drive there, and I'm glad I did because there were a couple times where I needed the extra gold, or the extra initiative more often, but stuff like that where I'm like, oh, maybe I would have won if I had played this plot instead. That's my biggest issue. So maybe playing a few games with a certain list of plots and then pivoting to like 1 or 2 different plots.
I think what you should do with the plots thing.
I mean,
is, I was gonna say that you can like go play games online, and then every turn just write down the plot that you would want to play if you could play any plot. So like think you have an infinite plot deck, and then like this turn, if I had Breaking Ties, I would play it, and then write it down, and then just take a record of how many times each one of those comes up. I mean, you can't be prepared for literally every matchup in the game. It's just not possible. But you can see like 80% of the time, I prefer to have Breaking Ties against the field than any other plot or something.
If there are more rookery tournaments, that also helps a lot in terms of determining what your sideboard is versus various matchups. I would love it if Iron Throne actually had like built-in analytics so you could see like what people were playing and stuff. But
yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, that was one thing I was kind of thinking about with I usually think about my losses more than my wins. And I was thinking like maybe if I had played Breaking Ties like turn 1 or 2 and surprised him with it, I could have, you know, set his board back or whatever. I mean, it just returns it to hand, so he would have been able to play it again. But just kind of messing, you know, playing plots at a different time than you would expect them to.
Yeah.
It was like turn 1, he was kind of surprised. He expected me to flip Doran's Behest into Summer Harvest and get the gold, and I flipped into Retaliation, which is one of my favorite plays because he made me first player. And I flipped into Retaliation, so I had a 2-plan plot.
And going first.
And so he had to basically defend all the challenges. especially intrigue. So that was one thing that I was thinking about afterward. Like that was a pretty good play, but maybe I should have, forced the intrigue challenges more and gotten cards out of his hand because he had a pretty full hand the whole game.
What plot did he play?
I think one of Stark's balancing factors is definitely lack of draw. Wyman obviously helps with that. But I think forcing intrigue is.
He had Gates of Winterfell out right away too, so he was drawing an extra card like every turn.
What plot did he lead when you behested into retaliation?
I think it was just Time of Plenty.
I'm getting there with Terraforming.
I hear Wausau loves that plot. Time of Plenty.
Oh my god, that's the indicator to know that you're trash. You turn one lead Time of Plenty, you must be garbage.
Yeah, that's a plot that I always want to include, and then I find out the plot, especially Martell. I don't know if you need that plot. Normally,
I run 2x Time of Plenty in every plot deck. That's how good I am. I'd run 4 if I could.
That's my problem. Is I like getting initiative too much, so I can't play Time of Plenty because it doesn't have.
That sucks. That's like the worst plot in the game.
Like as much as I look at average like economy per plot, I look at average initiative too, because I need to be able to decide who goes first.
Yeah, I think for Martell it's pretty good. Like Cletus Yronwood, I think helps with that, right?
Yeah. Yep. He's a guy that I would include. I would consider including 1 or 2 of because he's also a basically every card. When you're looking at Martell Wars, you just want to consider X number of plots in your use pile. I didn't have room for him in my deck.
I think it's pretty sweet as a 1-of because he's still even when you flip Valar, you can win initiative. Martell Wars.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a good card that I would have to consider. I don't know. There weren't a lot of times that I lost initiative and was mad about it, and there also weren't a lot of times that I even lost initiative because I had a lot of like forced march and like march to the wall. I have a lot of high initiative plots, so like even when I did lose initiative, usually I wasn't too mad about it.
So I will say this line of discussion is a little too off topic for this particular podcast. I think maybe Corey, you should guest on a real podcast and talk about actual strategy. Get Jesse to include you on Wars to Come.
Yeah, I've considered being a patron for Wars to Come just so they'll put me on the podcast and I can ask questions.
Yeah. I don't think, granted, I do have a lot of respect for Brad and Jake as players. And obviously, Ben does pretty consistently poorly. Come on, Ben. Why don't you win more games?
Yeah, Jake was pretty cool. We had a conversation right after our game was over, talking about his deck and how it was a good decision for me to play Nothing Burns to get rid of his Dorn. Because that was something I was like, oh, if I play that too early, he might get more locations and really screw me over. But
that broke my back.
Worked out for that game. He had like 10 or 12 cards in the first turn, but he was out of cards by like turn 5.
Yeah.
And so that was one of those times where I'm like, playing Martell, you really have to be okay with like waiting a few turns for it to have an effect. So that's something that I feel like I've gotten better at in the last year and a half since I started playing is letting things play out over more than just one round.
Are any of you guys going to nationals, or have you decided yet? Because it's not.
I'm probably gonna decide the week before again.
I'm gonna try.
It is quite a drive.
Yeah, but we already have like 2 cards. Well, I mean 1 card going.
Yeah, Hanson's going. Yeah.
Corey, you're. I'm sorry. What was that?
Oh, I'm thinking about
the reason I ask is I'm gonna have some swag to give away on my nationals drive. If you guys want to meet in some city or in Springfield itself, I'll have some stuff. I don't want to spoil the surprise of what missing the cut branded things there are.
Oh, man.
This is one. Every time I've shown
If I don't get a hoodie, dude, I'm out.
No, you don't get a hoodie.
I'll pay money
You can
for
be
it.
out.
It's always on the list of a couple of schemes.
No, there's too many. There's too many Thrones themed clothing items. There are not enough Thrones themed whatever I'm about to create. It's not a playmat, although I do have a playmat idea too that I'm trying to get for Worlds. But
I don't need a playmat.
Exactly. This is something you'll use.
I have a Combo King playmat. I don't need anything else, dude.
I would bet money that it involves drinking.
That is a sucker's bet. All right. It's like 9 o'clock. I don't know. We haven't had more than one viewer.
Yes.
Corey derailed this podcast into like actual discussion about strategy. I feel like that was a mistake.
Yeah, sorry about that. I care too much about winning.
Unlike Jake Combo King over there, who doesn't care at all about winning. Right? Jake, do you have a passport yet? Can you leave the country?
Yeah. I got it like last week.
Did you actually get a passport? Like you really got it?
I've heard.
Oh,
I've
wow.
heard of them many times.
I also didn't sign up for Stalic, so
Man, I was so excited to go to Stalic with all the Wausau guys. They were like,
Drop the ball.
we missed the
I
registry.
might just go anyway. And just pay for my own flight and feel bad.
You should feel bad.
So you should fly me out to Red Saturday.
Yeah, maybe. I'll buy your bus ticket.
I will not take it. I'll just pay for my own flight and waste your bus ticket.
How far is Wausau from Chicago? It's not that far, right?
It's like 4 hours, yeah.
Oh. I was gonna say Chicago to New York, the flight is probably cheaper than the bus ticket.
Yeah, probably. Well, like Minnesota's pretty cheap, and it's like my flight
Oh,
out
yeah,
of Roseville to
MSP.
Rhode Island was dirt cheap too. It was like $300.
All right, so if you do come to Red Saturday, well,
I have a
don't
buy,
know.
dude, and a free hotel, aka your house.
Wait, you have a free hotel? You're staying at my place?
Yeah, I won Rhode Island, dude. I put combo.
Did you win Rhode Island? Oh, fuck, you did, yeah. I remember that. I think you should have lost.
Yeah, I probably should have, but I didn't.
That was when Lamazak stole my coat. He claimed it as his own. And maybe he
You
was
were there for a
COVID.
while.
Yeah. That was so obnoxious.
Lamzix? Yeah, Lamzix flying out to Appleton for work next week, which is like an hour away from here.
You gonna go jam some games? Is that what you guys call it? Jamming games?
I'm probably gonna just go like drink with him. Probably not play any games.
Oh. That's surprisingly on topic for this cast.
Yeah, I don't know who plays games, dude.
Do other people not say jam games?
I've only heard it from Wausau people.
I think
I
And
that's
also-
Jesse.
from you guys.
Yeah, well, Jesse is Wausau, so
I'm gonna try and make it to an Asian tournament this year.
Oh my
It's
god.
gonna be pretty tricky, but yeah, that'll be fun. 'Cause,
you gonna make it to our game night kit this month?
no. No.
Hanson's won like the last like 6 of them.
It's honestly probably harder for me to get to Wausau than it is for me to get to like Bangkok. Like it's stupid. Like you guys need an airport that isn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Mozani, dude.
Jake
come on.
can come pick you up.
Yeah, dude, I got you.
From where?
Minnesota.
Oh yeah. I guess I could fly to MSP. That's not.
It's like 3 hours.
Yeah, you can fly to Milwaukee too.
I could also like have Hanson get you so you don't have to ride in a car with me for 3 hours.
Is that bad? I don't know. I rode in a car with Bohan for like 17 hours or something.
Oh no, Mr. Miza.
Is he driving?
Where?
I don't know. You said you were in a. Did you say you were in a car with him, or you're
Yeah,
going to be?
Yeah.
San Diego.
Oh. Did he drive for that?
Some of it, yeah.
Did you take his car?
No, it was
Oh.
Jesse's car.
You didn't get a roll in the sweet Cadillac?
Do you have a Cadillac?
No, Bohan does. He has a really old like boat Cadillac.
That's crazy. I have to rent a car. So, where the route to Springfield from, I guess, from Minnesota is just like straight south, right? and you guys are probably going to go either through Minnesota, but there's no way to intersect like on my road trip to. Yeah, there's no route.
No.
That sucks.
I mean, we probably will go south through Kansas City, not St. Louis.
Yeah, because I'll be going through St. Louis. I think I published my route. That's too bad. I gotta figure out. I gotta stop. I have to stay in only one night because there's no way I'm making it through that town without drinking.
True.
Have you been to Olney, Corey?
No, but I've heard about the debauchery that goes on there.
I don't
know.
think.
I'm on a bit of a hiatus right now. My wife just had a baby, so she's the one who gets to.
Right.
She had to wait like almost a year to drink, so she gets to do it now.
I just remember my game against Ben, where like I swear to God, Ben, I did not think you did shots, and then we did like 7 of them.
Yeah, I was surprised with myself that I survived.
And won that game.
Yeah.
The rat cook.
Oh yeah, I rat cooked your Garth the Gross on your king plot turn. You didn't have a king. Great.
That was such terrible. Whatever.
You were in much better shape than Sandy was when I walked by. I sat by him, and it was like the last 2 turns, and he was just not in great shape.
Yeah,
I realized that like buying shots for everybody and then doing one shot with like literally everybody was probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then going into a shots for plots game.
I think you had already had like at least 10 shots before the game.
It was
Sandy, you should have been so proud of me when I won Jesse's tournament because I was so drunk.
Are we gonna talk about this controversy again?
No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how Peters and I had to drink a drink every round and take a shot if you won. So like I like lost like 2 games during the day, and like I was very drunk by the time I got to the finals. It's very bad.
That's good because combo requires a lot of skill to play.
Well, I played Tyrell, HRD.
Oh, you were playing Bitterbridge. You weren't playing combo.
That was at Jesse's.
I don't remember, man. They all blur together.
It's like the same thing. It was 3 weeks.
Speaking of drinking, I think I'm gonna go to a bar.
Good.
Maybe. I don't have anything else to do. I'm flying to Vegas in 2 days. For there's a regional, but also it's former national champion Seth Lowe's bachelor party.
Ooh.
Guess I'm flying out to Vegas.
That sounds good luck. I was there for 2 days and they cleared me out.
I'm doing an all-you-can-drink Ferris wheel ride with a high roller. This is, I'm sure there will be an episode from Vegas that will be. There will be lots of live videos.
Live from the Ferris wheel.
Yeah. But no, Steven Simoni will be there. A bunch of other like kind of Thrones-ish people will be there.
Thrones-ish.
Thrones adjacent. And I'll be playing in the regional. Hopefully I'll win the regional. Although Fred Bird is going to try and make that not happen.
It's just
All
a
right.
regional. Who cares?
Would you go? Would you pick you against the field in a bet, straight up even odds?
I mean, knowing what I know right now, yes.
Damn, dude, I've made some statements like that.
That's a Jake sentence.
I would have like been banned from like Wausau if I lost Canadian Nats.
Between like Knoxville and now, I've played probably more Thrones than I've played ever.
Wow.
Like in a month ever. So I feel like I'm kind of like in good shape, Thrones wise.
Are you playing the deck I think you're playing, Sandy?
Combo?
I can't decide between that and builders.
Just play
You
builders.
should play builders, man. Dude, I'm like 15-0 with that deck. It's
It's
so
so
good.
good. It's so good.
So dumb.
You guys know what deck it is, right?
I don't.
Oh, well,
It's
we'll just talk obliquely about it.
That's fine. I'm very vague before a tournament. I try not to give away anything.
Oh, dude, I just give on my deck list and I have to play the mirror match.
His deck is in Chase's hands. Literally everyone knows what it is.
Which deck? Builders or the other one?
Builders.
Builders? Oh yeah. I've workshopped it a bit.
Oh yeah.
Gotten some consultants from, across the narrow sea, beyond the wall.
Buzz.
And as far as the other deck goes, I literally built that deck after doing a Second Sons episode and being like, oh, this card seems good. It was like on Aaron's list of good cards, and I was like, oh, this card seems pretty good. I should build a deck around this.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is amazing.
It's kind of insane.
So that's a plug for my other podcast. Go watch Second Sons. Maybe you'll figure out what deck it is. Is it that one? No. What are you?
This is just split in
Foil
half.
card.
No, look.
Oh no. Foil plume.
Cool. That's yeah.
You're watching Brad hard at work right now.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna go drink, guys.
See you, Sandy.
See you guys later.
Thanks for coming on, Corey.
Yeah.
It was good meeting you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for including me. I had a lot of fun this weekend playing with these guys. And my handle is on Iron Throne is C Weston 312. It's just my first and last name 312. So if anyone wants to look up, I'll try. I'm gonna try and play as much as I can, but like I said, my schedule's a little crazy right now with baby and stuff. So
you should actually, seriously though, you should talk to Aaron Groth for an episode of and be on a Wars to Come episode and talk about like kind of the strategy for learning from losses. I think that's a good topic.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't know it was way off base to ask that question.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just saying I don't think you're getting good
here.
Yeah, we just focus on being bad.
Except that I haven't drank very much while my wife is out living it up.
Yeah, and yet you still missed the cut. I mean, come on. You at least have the excuse of like you were hungover.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, it wasn't my fault that I missed the cut. Technically, I was tapping.
True. I mean, I think technically it's Brad's fault. Brad, were you drinking at least?
Yes.
No, I told you already. It was all a plot to stop Jake Platt.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
He had no
Is that
idea
not
I was
fair?
going to show up and beat Jake, so I understand his decision.
Yeah.
He had
Just
to
save everybody a lot of time.
It came down to the last round for that to happen, so you can't take that chance.
I mean, it's almost like Jake, by eliminating Jake, you actually also eliminated 3 Minnesota players, and it was just like
that was the real goal. Wausau final. It would have been 4 Wausau, 4 Minnesota if it was top 8.
Was Brandon the only one that made top 4 that wasn't Wausau?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was Leonard Hansen and Bratz and Zimmer.
But I would have had to play Brandon again in the cut because he was 3rd and I was 6th. So it's probably a good thing that we didn't do that.
And I would have played against Sam Bratz and lost and not kept my 100% win ratio in the cut.
Brandon's game against Hansen was very funny.
Sandy, you missed the coolest Thrones play I've ever seen. Brandon was so far behind, but he stood Hansen's Arya that he had stolen from him, so he couldn't save with Aemon on a military challenge because Arya has to be standing. So Hansen walled Brandon's Arya. Brandon stood it with the new Stark resource. So he couldn't save with Aemon and had to actually claim a guy. Nick Hansen angrily threw Arya into his dead pile. It was hilarious.
That's beautiful.
That was that play, and then the next turn he marshals Littlefinger, and he just goes to Nick, "Can I have $1 more?" And Nick's like, yeah, sure, fine. And then he like two claims him with a brand with the the winter is coming.
Wait, Nick just like gave him a dollar. What?
Yeah. Brandon's like, can I please have $1? And Nick's like, yeah, sure. It was very
Aren't
weird.
you supposed to be judging this tournament?
Yeah,
Hey,
who's
you
running
can
this
do
thing?
And they both wanted it to happen.
They both agreed.
I mean, I can like me and my opponent can both like what?
At that point, there was no chance for Brandon Zimmer, unfortunately.
Oh, the other great play too was the first time Hansen like activated a wall and Brandon threw last Hurt Scouts into play on his side knelt. He's like, here you go. Because the force reaction makes it come in knelt when Nick Hansen did it during the challenge phase.
Oh.
And Hansen's like, oh yeah. And then Hansen also drew 2 extra cards with green sight, which I had to give him a warning about. And then what was the other thing that he did? He did something else that was like super bad. Oh, he tried to sack a dude to his Jano Slint and stand it because he thought it was the new Stark guy. And Brandon just goes, Nick, that's a Janos. And then Nick looks down and he's like, oh yeah, it is. And then Brandon flea bottomed back a Bran and then made a challenge with it when he had a last Hearst Scouts out and realized it like when Nick Hansen was about to start challenges. It was the sloppiest Game of Thrones I've ever seen.
Like I said, who's judging this again?
You, I can't tell them to play better.
You can.
I can just say, Hansen, stop drawing extra cards, which I did twice.
Yeah, no one came up to me and said, hey, Corey, which copy of Nymeria are you playing? Because I'm pretty sure I didn't write which version on my deck list.
No one only mattered for finalists.
Hey, which one are you running? So I
made an announcement to write it down. I even helped poor little Mason Stalsberg write
as
down.
As soon as you said that, I was like, "Oh shoot! I don't think I wrote." I know I wrote.
Brandon, by the way, submits his deck list and then comes up to me like 15 minutes later, like right as round 1 is starting, and says, "I didn't write down." He like forgot all of his plots. He literally didn't write down any of his plots.
So technically, he shouldn't have been allowed to be in the cut.
And then Sam only wrote down 6 of his plots. That was pretty funny.
I honestly don't understand like how you call yourself a judge.
Hey there, Sandy. I caught all of these errors before the tournament had begun, sir.
And yet 0 DQs.
Well, that's because he didn't catch the colluding.
You don't give DQs for a deck registration error before round 1 has even started. This is why you're not a judge.
You know, in his defense, he spent a lot of the day selling crap to my kid, so he was really busy.
I'm just giving Brad a hard time.
Also,
hold on. I have to tell you about the Ryan Leonard punt. Ryan Leonard made what he called his worst play mistake ever in anything. Okay. He has a Nelt Reducer, a Nelt Ill Pain, a Hound, and a Tywin with no money that are both standing. Nick Hansen has a Corn Half-Hand, a 2-strength military guy, and like a 2-strength power icon. He makes a power challenge. Leonard is so far ahead at the point in this game, he's winning like 7-2, and he even treacheryed an underground vault. Like, that's how far he is ahead. Okay. Just steamrolling. Ryan Leonard snap blocks with Hound, bounces it to his hand immediately, and then Hansen makes a 7-strength military challenge. Leonard loses. Corn kills the Chud. He claims Ill and Pain and then gets his Tywin March to the wall. He still wins this game, by the way. That's how far he was ahead. Because Nick Hansen mulliganed into triple Yorin. He turn 1 green sights. He made Ryan first on turn 1. He green sights a Hound, and the first marshalling action Leonard takes is to play another Hound. And then Hansen looks at his triple Yorin in sadness.
God, I can't wait for Worlds.
Yeah,
Brad, can you do me a favor? Were you around for the shots for plots at Worlds?
The one that you guys were doing at Joe Sensors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I want to
then
have
it turned
you.
it- And then it turned into angle shooting, where you guys were like just cheating. You were just blatantly cheating.
That's why I want to. I'd like to make the first invitation for you to be a judge of that.
That sounds fantastic.
The judge also has to do shots for plots.
How do I get a dolly out penalties? Is it in shots?
No,
Yeah.
Or do I get to choose the type of shot?
Oh, that could be interesting. That could be interesting.
So like you can start with a low grade, and then depending on how sketchy people's plays are, I'll upgrade them to disgusting shots. For the next plot.
This is evolving. But you have to realize we are counting on you as an active judge, which means if you do miss something that we do that is illegal, it turns back on you.
Oh boy.
I like that game better. just waiting for him to miss something.
I would be so attentive during that game. You guys wouldn't have any fun because it wouldn't move because you're all savage cheaters.
Challenge accepted.
That'd be like a 4-hour Game of Thrones where like it would take like an hour to do a turn because everybody would be trying to savagely cheat so hard.
No, that's what ended up happening last time.
Yeah.
I also don't even know the rules to Melee, so
We should. I actually don't know who to invite to the Melee this year. It's got to be. I mean, I have to come.
Nick Hansen again.
The Wausau representative.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or Sam Bratz or Sam.
You should just have 4 metas nominate a person.
I was gonna say that. Have 4 different tournaments and the winner gets to be in the melee.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. That might be a.
Just have us nominate a champion.
But like, I mean, there's more than 4 metas. Like,
Yeah, but who cares about them?
But pick the 4 best.
Pick the 4 drunkest.
So obviously Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yes.
Well, Sandy's
I don't know.
obviously up there.
Sandy's his own drunk meta.
That is true.
I mean, I do drink more than any other meta put together.
Yeah.
Dude, we drink like every night, dude.
Okay, I know what you guys call drinking theoretically. I've been to Wausau. It's barely drinking.
Wow.
Dude, you've been to the Dom.
I know.
You probably just don't even remember the second half.
Was that the half I was on Tinder, or?
That was the
yeah.
entire half.
That was the whole thing.
Fish, dude. Just guess fish.
But yeah, I think you just pick 4 metas, man, and then have them nominate a champion.
Or 3 because Melee is 4 people.
Well, yeah, you included 4.
I might be the European champion, actually. I might be the European nominee.
Yeah. I agree. Well, shouldn't you have Wama on?
Wama.
Does he
I
drink?
know that Wama does like shots.
What a beach.
I mean, British people tend to drink beer.
Yeah, make him take shots and beer.
You put the shot in the beer.
There you go.
That's Irish.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Shot in the beer and chug it.
Yeah, I have to figure out regions, but yeah, that's a good idea. We'll definitely have 3 people nominated. And maybe we'll pick like. There's got to be 1 person from the Midwest, 1 person from the West Coast, 1 person from the East Coast.
Well, Midwest nominates Sam Bratz.
And or Nick Hansen. Can we have Nick and Sam be a team to make 1 unit?
Oh God.
No, but I will put up a poll on Missing the Cut for who should represent them, Nick or Sam. You guys can vote in it.
We won't vote.
Yeah, we're too socially awkward to vote, Sandy.
Nick,
Is
What if
that-
we had 0 votes?
I blame you for Donald Trump then.
That's pretty true, though.
oh, called out.
That's like, I think it is the Midwest's fault for that.
Isn't it specifically Wisconsin's fault?
We contributed.
We definitely did.
You can blame us. I know enough dumbasses in Wisconsin that you can blame us.
Whatever.
I'm not from there.
All right, I am gonna go get a drink now. I'm
All right.
stopping this broadcast. Thanks a lot for coming on, guys.
Sandy,
See you
don't
guys.
Thanks so much
Don't
for
worry.
having me.
Don't play builders.
I will play
No.
builders.
No.
See you guys.